Are you tired of feeling like you aren't productive enough? Are you tired of overwhelming yourself so much with your to-do list that you end up not even starting the things that you said you were gonna do? Well, I feel you. And I feel like when it comes to productivity, a lot of us think that it means taking action 24/7, never taking breaks, and living this unrealistic lifestyle with crazy agendas and to-do lists. And I'm here to say that, first of all, it doesn't really work like that. And second of all, productivity and taking action can actually be empowering when done from a grounded and centered space. Not sourcing all your worth from how productive you are and then burning out, but going at a pace that feels good and taking the right amount of action towards your goals. I wanted to share some gems that I've been learning as my life has been getting a bit busier and as I've been working towards some of my goals. And this is not a video where I'm gonna yell at you and tell you that you're just lazy, but instead I wanted to give some practical tips that have been helping me stay focused. So welcome to the video, and I hope you enjoy. It is a gloomy, rainy day in LA, so if you hear rain in the background, don't mind it. It's just adding to the ambiance of this video, you know? I know that productivity can be a cringy word for some people, and it's completely valid because of our culture and the way that we see productivity, the way that we have been conditioned to see it, and how many people source most of their worth from how productive they are and how much they do and get done. And that's not what this video is about. This video is not about toxic productivity. I wanted to talk about how productivity doesn't need to be a scary word if you just reframe your mind around it, and being productive can be enjoyable and can work for you. And it doesn't always need to lead to burnout. You can do it in a sustainable way. And I know a lot of us have ditched hustle culture, which is great, but then sometimes it has us ending up on the other side of the spectrum where we feel completely unmotivated and stuck in an extended slump. And I have been there. I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and I'm now finding this balance between the two and applying these things that I've learned. And what I'm going to share with you guys, this is not a biohacking video. This is just straight up given to you straight up what has been working for me, and I hope that it can help some of you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Something that's really helped me when it comes to productivity and working towards a goal or goals is taking small steps every day towards that goal, or however many goals you may have. And a lot of the time we don't start things because we overwhelm ourselves and give ourselves these unrealistic expectations. For example, I have been wanting to be more consistent on YouTube and upload more frequently, grow my community. I'm not sitting here telling myself that I need to record a video every single day, because I know that that's completely unrealistic for me, and even the thought of that makes me not want to do it because it overwhelms me, right? However, I've focused on taking small steps every day. And for me, that may look like brainstorming video ideas. So sometimes I'll write in my journal some ideas that I have, or I'll go on Google Docs and I'll think to myself, okay, what is it that I want to create? You know, what type of video do I want to create? What do I want to talk about? And that has been feeling like a good small step because it gets me to start. If I were to sit here and be like, I need to record this type of video today, right now, it makes me feel overwhelmed, and I'm sure many other people can relate to where I don't even have the motivation to start. So I think whatever you're working towards, whatever thing you're wanting to implement into your life, it's good to just take a small step every single day and release unnecessary pressure that ends up keeping you stuck in the first place. A lot of us think we have to completely go big. Then we get mad at ourselves for not doing that when you could have just taken a small step. And sometimes I've noticed that when I take a small step, like the example I just gave, writing down a video idea, it'll lead to more inspired action. I've noticed when the intense pressure is off of me, it inspires me more to continue on, if that makes sense. So sometimes I'll write down a video idea and then I'll be like, okay, today I'll write down, a few ideas. then it'll lead me to maybe expand on that idea. Then maybe I pull out my phone and I start recording, you know, and I didn't plan on doing that, but because I told myself that I can just take this small step, I encouraged myself. It inspired me to take even more action. And speaking of encouragement, I like to use the word encouragement rather than like pushing ourselves. I know some people like to say they like to push themselves, and you know, you can use that word if you want, but sometimes you push yourself so much, you push yourself away. That's not helpful in certain situations. So it's just like encouraging yourself, taking a little step. Okay, today maybe we'll do this. If you are an artist, maybe today I'll draw something or I'll paint something and I'll have no expectation, and sometimes it leads you to even more than you planned. I found that very helpful in my journey, not just with YouTube, but with other things that I may need to get done. And fun fact, this video actually came from that exact situation. You know, I didn't know what to film, so I was like, okay, let me write things down, what's been on my mind, and this topic has been on my mind. And I wrote a bit of it yesterday, and this morning I started to receive more ideas, and then I'm filming. And I was able to take inspired action just from that step. So don't be fooled by the word small step, because that can lead to more. A little like sub tip or micro tip that I want to add to this as well. This is kind of more for creatives, but it can really work for anybody. But once you notice that you're in a flow state, don't stop if possible. Because I know sometimes things out of our control may interrupt, but if that's not the case, try to stay in it for as long as possible. If you stop the flow state, it kind of just like messes it up. I've noticed, let's say I'm like editing a video or something and I'm really in a flow. If I stop and then try to come back to it, I'll have less motivation. Whereas if I stayed in that flow, I would end up getting more done. And when you are in the flow state, which is very powerful, by the way, it creates a lot of beautiful action. But when you're in that state, things feel effortless. And because things feel effortless, you end up getting more done. And it's a beautiful thing because you're also feeling inspired and getting more done without feeling burnt out, because when you're flowing, things feel effortless. Like I said, they kind of come with ease. Think of when you're writing and things are just flowing and it doesn't even feel like you're trying that much. That's magic. Or yeah, if you make music, you write songs, when you're in a flow, don't stop. Keep it going if you can. That's a little pro tip. And that doesn't just have to apply to creatives or people that are in creative fields. That can apply to any work as well. So I wanted to add that. My next little tip is to track where your energy is going, where you are investing your energy, because as you may know, where your energy goes is what grows. So sometimes we may be investing our energy into things that don't serve us, causing us to feel even more unmotivated. And I've noticed for myself, you know, I'm not a perfect human being at all. And I've gone through a lot of things within this past month, and I've noticed that I was wanting to distract myself, you know, whether that was through scrolling, being on media, whatever. Whenever I do that, I just feel like I drag myself into a slump and I begin to feel unmotivated. And so I had to kind of check in with where my energy was going, check in with myself and be like, where are we putting our attention? Where are we putting our energy? Because of course you're not going to feel motivated if you're putting your energy into other people's lives on social media, just as an example. You know, of course you're not gonna start on something you've been wanting to start on if you're too busy investing your energy into things that don't serve you. It's good to check in, just check in with yourself if you've noticed you're feeling kind of in a slump and you feel like you can't really be productive or get things done that you know you want to get done. You gotta be real with yourself. You gotta check in with yourself and see where your attention is and slowly make shifts. So that could kind of lead back to the last step, taking small steps, right? But just shifting where your energy and attention is going and making sure that you are prioritizing things that fulfill you and things that are leading you towards what you want and your desires, whatever that looks like for you. And of course, even just doing those things for yourself, solely for yourself, not just for what you want to get done, because it is good to just check in with yourself, just to check in as well. But that kind of also leads me into my next tip. I have my computer here I wrote them down, or I typed them out, and that is devotion over discipline. I always think that and say that, and there's nothing wrong with discipline. I use that word a lot. I think, discipline is a good thing, but sometimes for some people it can be like, it can bring up negative feelings. And I prefer to say devotion. I don't do certain things not necessarily because I'm so disciplined, but it's because I am devoted to myself and my evolution, or I am devoted to this goal that I really want to fulfill, or this desire that I want to fulfill. And I feel like that brings out a different energy. Sometimes discipline can have us feeling like, well, I'm tired and I guess I have to do this. Whereas devotion is more like, it comes from the soul. And we want to do things that come from the soul. We don't want to be so robotic and kind of just going through the motions. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, Samaya, I'm working this 9 to 5 and I don't really like it. How can I feel devoted to that? And for that, it's more about the end goal. So maybe you're working so that you can start to save money to travel, and that's what you're devoted to. Or maybe you're working just to sustain yourself so that you can live a life that you enjoy, and that's what you're devoted to. So it doesn't have to completely apply to that job that you're doing, but working in a way where you're like, okay, I am doing this because it is going to lead to maybe more freedom for me once I, leave this job one day or something like that. That mindset can be a little more helpful. And we all have bad days. I know I have bad days with things that I do, and that's completely normal. But it's always good to remember your intention. And so coming back to your intention can help with that feeling. You don't necessarily have to be devoted to your 9 to 5, you can work in a way that feels good and feels authentic for you, knowing that this one day is going to lead you to more freedom. Or the traveling example that I gave, maybe you're saving up money to eventually quit and travel. Think of that. Sometimes on the days that are hard, it's hard to think of that, and I get it. But reminding yourself of the plan and reminding yourself of the intention can be helpful when it comes to that energy of devotion. I hope I explained that in a way that makes sense. But yes, devotion over discipline is a mindset that can add more passion to what you're doing or to the goal that you are trying to reach. As you guys can tell, I love a good example. So for my morning routine, for example, that's something that I feel devoted to. And some people could look at that and be like, wow, you're so disciplined. And sure, yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm not doing it forcefully. It's something I genuinely want to do. It's something I look forward to. It's something I look forward to doing every single morning because I am devoted to my practices and devoted to my growth in that way. And so it creates more of this passion and this genuine desire. My cat agrees with that, by the way. That's why he's yelling. But it creates more of this genuine desire towards what you want to do that can bring more motivation and more zest and inspiration for you. Okay, moving on to my next point, and that is, do not underestimate your reset days. This is important. This is how we're not gonna burn out and then be like, oh, being productive sucks because I burn out every single time. No, okay? Don't underestimate resetting and resting. And I know you hear that a lot, but I'm talking about like real rest, like not being on your phone all day. And I'm talking to myself as well. That's not rest. That's not allowing your brain to rest. That's not allowing yourself to reset. But when we truly reset, we are able to just show up better, honestly. Show up more renewed and refreshed. And taking time to rest and also taking time to allow your mind to be clear and to settle allows you to become more receptive as well. When we're always doing and we're always taking action, that's why we can end up burning out, because we're not allowing ourselves to step into receiving, which is very important when it comes to taking action. It's very important when it comes to life, and it's very important when it comes to gaining inspiration and gaining motivation and being productive. Now, of course, we rest to rest. We don't rest just to be more productive, right? I'm just saying this because it can help if you're feeling like you are in a slump. Allowing yourself to be clear and maybe practicing something like meditation. I know for me, meditation is crucial. A lot of the time when I am feeling uninspired, sometimes my mind is just what's in my way. So when I allow myself to be receptive and my mind to kind of slow down and clear, I will receive more ideas or receive more inspiration. Again, of course, that's not the only reason why I meditate, and I don't think that should be the only reason why anyone meditates, but it is a plus for those times that I may feel a bit unmotivated and I'm looking for more inspiration or looking for more motivation. Sometimes the constant doing and the constant thinking is actually what's getting in the way. So don't underestimate rest, don't underestimate resetting. Those things are productive and they exist under the branch of productivity. So that's important. And my next important tip is simply self-study, knowing yourself, knowing what works for you, knowing what motivates you. For example, earlier I mentioned, sometimes I get overwhelmed when I have crazy expectations for myself. I know that's how my brain operates. If I tell myself that I need to do this specific thing, for example, for videos, like I said, if I tell myself I need to film a video every single day, it is going to make me not want to do that and rebel against doing that. So I know that I don't work well with that intense mindset. I work better with taking small steps and encouraging myself to move forward. I actually get more things done from that. So ultimately, it really is more about knowing yourself. Some people, they can go from 0 to 100 and completely dive into something, and that's them, and that might be you. So yeah, at the end of the day, knowing what drives you is very important. And maybe some things, some mindsets may work for different aspects of your life. I know for my creative work, like I said, being super intense doesn't really work, but with things like my daily routines or exercise, I still don't think that being insanely intense is healthy. But I might be more strict in certain areas of my life than others. That's just me learning how I operate and what motivates me for one thing versus another. And ultimately, we want to have good balance. We don't want to go too crazy, because that at the end of the day, again, is what's going to lead to burnout. It is also important how you talk to yourself as well. That's something that I'm learning. If you tell yourself, for some people, I guess it might work, but for most people, if you shame yourself into trying to do something, that's not really going to work. And that honestly keeps many people stuck. Like shaming yourself, calling yourself a failure. You say you're a failure enough times, you're going to start to believe that and start to act like one. And that's not going to be helpful in any way. Or saying, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I can't get anything done. Guess what? You can't get anything done because you're constantly saying that. Whereas if you just change your self-talk just a little bit, it can motivate you more because you are becoming like your own cheerleader, and you're giving yourself a little pep rally and you're getting yourself ready to do the things that you want to do and to work towards the goals that you want to work towards. So that's also important. Do not be so mean to yourself. Like, that's not going to help. It's not going to work. That is something that I'm becoming aware of more and more these days, is my mindset and my self-talk, because I've noticed how it affects me and how positive self-talk actually makes me more productive. So don't forget that. And those are my tips that I have for being productive without being destructive. I hope that this was helpful and that you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed what I had to say. And just remember that being productive can work for you, and you can do it in a way that is sustainable, and you're doing great. You are so capable of accomplishing all the goals that you have, and just rewiring the way you think about productivity and the ways that you are productive can help you to take more realistic, approachable steps towards those things and actually start and maybe pull yourself out of a little slump, which is normal and happens to us all the time, you know? So also giving yourself grace, but you know, eventually we wanna get back on the horse and pull ourselves out. So I hope that these tips that I gave can help with that. Believe in yourself. I know it sounds corny to most people, but it shouldn't sound corny, okay? Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and you got this. And yeah, if any of you guys have any video suggestions for me, please leave them down below. I would love to look through them and film some videos that you guys would like to see and like to enjoy. I hope that you're all having a beautiful February so far. I am sending you guys so much love, support, and encouragement. And thank you so much for being here and for watching this video and for hearing me talk for however long this was. I really, really appreciate you. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.